YouTube, what it do is your boy Benji, and we back on TV. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. Slide a thumbs up this way. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. I did want to wait to do a full Superman watch along with y'all on the Patreon, but unfortunately, man, I gave in. I was ducking and dodging all the spoilers I could. I had to do it, but I will say it's possible that when it comes on digital, I might watch it again. Because I feel like there's a lot that it's kind of escaped my brain. But at the end of the day, spoiler alerts incoming. If you only watch the trailer, I don't think you'd be missing much when it came to the actual movie. But let's chop it up. So the movie begins with Superman face planting into the snow after being beaten by the mysterious Hammer of Baravia, who is later revealed to be Ultraman in disguise. This attack was set up by Lex Luthor meant to eventually gain access to Superman's Fortress of Solitude. You know, the big house in the snow. And off rip, I gotta get into some of my issues with the movie, because this is how it starts. Literally. Superman is nerfed for most of the movie, and it's very evident in the first few scenes and in the way he is shot. We look at the camera angles. In previous movies, we saw upward camera angles, more grandiose entrances, etc. Here we're looking down on him and immediately feel sorry for the guy. I also would have liked to see the battle between him and the Hammer of Baravia that got him to this point. I mean, let's think about it for a second. Our introduction to Superman is him running away and being too weak to continue to fight. This dude left a menace in the city just to fly back and get whooped again. In the span of like 10 minutes. This dude gets manhandled twice. I will say, Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, is an interesting character, and Hoult walked the line between psycho nerd and evil guy so as to not come off as super cringe very, very well. Unfortunately, he has not written the best. The character of Lex Luthor that we've been introduced to, everything is calculated just to beat Superman. But then the questions start to arise. Why does he hate Superman specifically? There are plenty of other meta-humans in this universe, and Superman is not presented to be God tier. He's just fighting for the greater good, and he even emphasizes that multiple times throughout the movie. In any effort to limit property damage, he saves anyone and everyone, even squirrels. It isn't long before we are introduced to Lois Lane and Clark Kent, as well as the rest of the Daily Planet. Clark and Lois share some banter later that evening about their exceptional acting at work, and they eventually turn Lois's first interview with Superman into an argument. Lois challenges Superman's belief that unilateral action for peace is helpful, pointing out the political complexity of his presence on Earth. He only sees people dying, but he chooses to help, which can be easily twisted to Superman choosing sides. She also reflects on her struggle with having workplace relationships, and that's one thought I always have about Lois. I feel like she likes Superman, not Clark Kent. She enjoys the thrill that comes with it, not the actual work of the relationship, not the actual normalcy of Clark, anything like that if you had to ask me. After a kaiju is released into the city, Luthor and his team finally break into Superman's base. They use that kaiju to distract Superman. So Superman keeps the kaiju at bay, but it isn't long before the Justice Gang show up and kill it. Yeah. Superman cringes at this and the property damage, and it's obvious that he believes that there's a better way. But again, then we add more questions. Who is the Justice Gang? There's a running joke that they haven't come to a consensus about the group name, yet they're wearing JG branded clothing. So, whatever. We don't get much time to flesh them out, and I guess that we are expected as the audience to already be knowledgeable about everyone, because that's kind of my thought process about everything and everyone in this movie. We're just expected to be geniuses in the audience. We've seen Superman enough, so guys, y'all figure it out. Anyways, back at the Fortress of Solitude, the robots are not much of a defense against the bad guys, as Lex's crew easily enters and wipes them out, as well as Crypto the Superdog. Nothing or no one stands in their way. All the secrets and tech of another planet and perhaps another galaxy at their fingertips, yet it is only important that he downloads the corrupted message that Kal-El was left from his parents. That's it. So it doesn't take long for me to kind of get the thought process that Lex is just not driven into the floor as an evil genius. Like, he could be easily curing cancer, but due to his hatred of Superman, that's where all the resources and energy go. This guy literally just hates Superman. He's a dude with money that just hates Superman. It's kind of all. That's the depth that we get from his character in this movie. I mean, look, in prior Superman movies, Lex seeks to understand Krypton, the DNA, the culture, the mission, the technology, etc., in a manner that eventually leads to ultimate control and dominance. But not here. He just wants to destroy Superman. Anyways, Lex ends up decoding the message and instantly broadcasts Superman that came to Earth to take over and reignite the Kryptonian species, a la Homelander. And Luthor drops a decoded bomb of a video. Clark does question himself a bit as he tries to understand his purpose. He has grown up on the morals and teachings of his family in Kansas, so this information is new to him. The Justice Gang is ready to strike, but they just assume Superman is here to help, so then it's just jokes right after and business as usual. It's really weird because this drop that Lex Luthor has, this is a moment that's integral to the plot, but it's just washed away. Like, we could have had seen greater insecurity in Superman, fear in the Kents, the world powers can link up and try to unite himself against metahumans. Nothing really happens, just a couple of people are angry in downtown Metropolis, and then he leaves. And while Superman contemplates all that is going on, there's a visually interesting scene where the Justice Gang are battling a big blob of a monster in the background, but Superman just shrugs it off when Lois is there to solicit his help. She's like, hey, can't you go do something about this? He's like, nah, don't need to worry about it. Anyways, it isn't long before Lex Luthor captures Superman and imprisons him in the Pocket Universe with the help of Metamorpho, who is able to conjure up kryptonite in the palm of his hand. Need more info about him? Don't worry about it, you're probably not going to get it. All we learn is that this fella has been separated from his son and is working for Lex to eventually get the kid back. Lois runs to the Hall of Justice and appeals to the Justice Gang for help to save Superman. Again, this movie is strange because without Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, what do we do? What gets accomplished? But instantly, the Green Lantern reveals Superman's identity to Lois, a reporter, and Superman's glasses are revealed to have a hypnotic effect, altering how people perceive him, which makes sense as there had been plenty of close-up shots earlier in this movie about Superman on the news and him interacting with crowds of people. But Mrs. Terrific decides to oblige and ends up being the biggest help. Strangely enough, the biggest turning point in this movie is when a beloved character, Molly the falafel guy, is taken into the Pocket Universe and held at gunpoint. I know y'all be thinking I'm playing. Dude, Lex is really, really strange in this movie. He has the ability to kill Superman while he's imprisoned, but he doesn't. Why? Because it's for another time. Why? Why create pocket universes solely to defeat Superman? There are obviously much greater opportunities that can present themselves from this. And there's a quick giggle, I guess, that we as a fans get when we see many of the Superman troll tweets that have been talked about throughout this movie actually come from random monkeys who send hundreds of negative internet posts online per minute. It's a James Gunn joke. But instead of having, the actual imprisoned people or other characters as slaves or something like that, we have monkeys. So it's a funny joke, but it doesn't paint Lex Luthor to be any more evil to me. But yeah, for somebody who studies Superman as much as he would have, it was a little weird that he dragged the falafel guy into the Pocket Universe and offed him instead of somebody that Clark would have cared more about and actually would have truly given you a better answer. This is literally solely a person that gave Superman a falafel one day. That's the integral point to the plot. I get it. Superman cares for everybody and values everybody's life equally. But what was Lex Luthor thinking he was going to get out of this moment? And it's not even like Lex intended to take the dude's life. He's even shocked at how fast the quickly deadly game of Russian roulette ends. Because he was seemingly bluffing. Just the fact that he laughs it off helps us know that he doesn't really care. But why should we care? Unfortunately, as evil as he was in that moment, it was short-lived because in the latter portion of the film, he becomes super, super whiny when things don't go his way, and then he eventually gets whooped by a dog that plays too much. But like I said, this is a turning point in the movie. So Metamorpho questions things and he withdraws the kryptonite hold on Superman. He then generates a sun in the palm of his hands and Superman charges up. A sun, literally in the palm of his hands. They have literal humans in the cell right next to them. A glass cell. And dude makes a sun right here. Anyways, Superman goes to fight Ultraman and the engineer who makes him swallow nanobots, suffocating him. But in one last effort, Superman tries to fly away, baiting the villains into following him and then drops them into the earth. Ultraman is unmasked and he's revealed to be a Superman clone. This could have hit harder for a lot of people because I thought it was going to be Bizarro, but no, just Superman clone. Anyways, that's fine. It's okay. So Lex had Superman at his side all this time and was just playing games. Let's think about it for a second. Lex has been feeding commands to Clone's head all movie, but it's not like he really needed it because he was beating Superman bad, even without the commands. Yet there's a flying bus that sends him into a black hole. The same black hole that Superman avoided by just blowing himself away. One of the weird things that we get multiple times in this movie is somebody being referenced as toes. And that person is Lex Luthor's girlfriend, who's exposed as a snake to the audience and has been feeding information to Daily Planet's Jimmy Olsen. Apparently, who's an old ex, and this is an effort for them to get back together. Yeah, the countries of Baravia and Jarampur, I think, are headed back into war, and even though the children and the people of Jarampur want Superman to save them again, the Justice Gang show up instead in the wreck house. I know you wanted Superman, but you got Green Lantern, kid. And even though Superman wants to come help, he is summoned by Mr. Terrific once he notices that the Pocket Universe was splitting the world in half. They end up saving the day, and in one of Hawkwoman's speaking scenes, she drops the president of Baravia to his death, as he did not believe that these heroes were willing to take a life. I mean, brother, take a look at the weapon that she holds. You think that thing is a squeaky toy or something like that? Ultimately, Superman realizes he's just as human as anyone. He loves, struggles, and pushes forward every day. Luthor, who is portrayed as a manipulative and possibly xenophobic antagonist, he is exposed as a traitor and he gets arrested. Again, this is a little confusing to me because Superman is not the one that took down Lex. Lois and Jimmy do. Ultimately, Krypto is the one who physically subdues Lex. So, whatever. Again, for the majority of the movie, I was on the side of Lex. He was making valid points about the danger of Superman, yet Superman does zero work to take down the tyrant. Whatever, at least Lois is happy with a relationship again and she kisses Superman. But I don't know, wouldn't that mean that she has two boyfriends? I wonder what she thinks Clark Kent looks like, because of his glasses. But yeah, I mean, all in all, this movie, well, there's some great action, there's some great scenes, it's not terrible. Superman feels like a supporting character in someone else's movie. Like, if you were just watching the movie without any comic book knowledge, you would think Mr. Terrific was him. Like, you would have thought you came to see a Mr. Terrific movie. We do get a last scene where Supergirl shows up at the Fortress of Solitude and she's drunk. Apparently having been off world while all this craziness is going on. She's gonna get a movie soon. Maybe at least we'll get Darkseid, her movie. All in all, like I said, if I had to go yay, nay, okay, this movie's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. I mean, if I had to take it at face value, there's hope for DC going forward. Simplest put. I mean, I don't know. I'm not mad at this movie for trying to assume that we know enough about Superman's backstory. It's not that complex. He's an alien. He's not from here. He was sent from a dying planet. Cool. But the fact that we get 2 hours of this movie and we don't dive into anything other than that, we kind of touch on the psyche of Superman and why he does what he does, why he wants to help just because he wants to. And again, a major point in the movie is that his parents have sent him out there to conquer Earth, but everybody just brushes over that after about 10 minutes of deliberation. And again, if Superman didn't exist in this movie, it's not like you wouldn't have gotten things done. Because again, things got handled by the Justice Gang, handling the monsters that Superman didn't want to do anything with. The Justice Gang stopped the war. The Justice Gang helped save Superman from this pocket universe, as well as the myriads of other people that are entrapped. And then you have Lois and Jimmy Olsen, who stopped Lex Luthor. I don't know. I think Lex Luthor as a character could have been fleshed out a little better. But like I said, it's just really like the writing in this movie that just kind of touches on, all right, this person is that person, this is that person, this is that person, this is that person, and that's all you need to know. I wouldn't be mad about that, but then we spend a bunch of time trying to get to know plenty of characters in the Daily Planet. Like, for example, 6 of them get stuffed into a ship at the very end of the movie that we just don't need to know at all. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts were on the Superman movie.